we are for week 3. This week we're talking about serving each other. So we've already talked about love one another and how we can leave our mark, and we've also talked about forgiveness. So I hope that you were able to come up with a way to forgive someone this week through prayer and through maybe reading some of the Bible verses we shared last week. So this week we're talking about serve each other. And sometimes we think we do all these service projects through our church. And we go out and we do these big things. But sometimes it's the little things that we do that can mean the most to people. And there's a story in the Bible where Jesus serves his friends in a really special way. Now, let's just read a few verses about what Jesus says about serving others. So first we're going to start with this at John 13, 3-8.
Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them."
Okay, so Jesus taught them about serving in kind of an unusual way. For us, thinking about washing feet may seem kind of odd, okay? Because we wear shoes everywhere we go, most of us. But back in Jesus' day, they wore sandals and they walked everywhere they went, okay? So their feet were really dirty. So when they would enter someone's home, usually there was someone there that would wash their feet. There was like a basin at the door, or maybe close where they would sit down and someone would wash and dry their feet. So the fact that Jesus did that for his friends, the disciples, really meant a lot to them, and it was showing them, he was saying, you need to do even the things that happen every day, because that was something that happened often. You need to do these things for each other. And so it was a pretty cool example. Let's see. So today what we're going to do is we were trying to think of a way that we could serve others. And we're in kind of a weird situation right now with the pandemic and all the things going on. So we wanted to make something that we could share with other people. So whenever we think about making something that we want to eat, we often think of Miss Celia. So we brought Miss Celia White in today, and she's going to help make a recipe. Now this is a no-bake recipe, and we are posting the recipe today with the sermon, so it will be up on the website, but it's a no-bake cookie dough treat recipe. Okay, so it's just a stick of butter, some brown sugar, some flour, some vanilla, and some chocolate chips. I'm sure if you wanted to add nuts or coconut or anything like that, you probably could. But it's a really cool recipe. It makes quite a few cookie dough bites. And so what we're going to ask you to do this week is your challenge is going to be to make some cookie dough bites and to also share some cookie dough bites. So think of somebody that would really enjoy it and you could share it with them. Maybe it's a neighbor, somebody who can't get out of the house still, but we want to make sure that when we're cooking, or we're still considering this cooking even though we're not using the oven, but we want to make sure we're using all those precautions that have been put in place. So Miss Celia has washed her hands and she has gloves on, okay? And she has not been sick, so we double checked all of that. And her mighty assistant today is going to be Satchel Allen. Look how excited she is. Okay, so Satchel's going to help out. Satchel also has on gloves, and so I'm going to let Miss Celia take it away. All
Hi,
right.
boys and girls and parents. Cooking is one of those really fun things because it's kind of like doing science experiments. Either it turns out really great or it doesn't, but you've got to follow the directions to make that happen. So the very first thing in the cookie dough recipe is you need a line of a basic baking sheet or cookie sheet, whatever you want to call it. You've probably got one in the house somewhere. And you put either wax paper on there, this happens to be parchment paper, and you can cut it to fit, or you can just bend the corners down to make it fit. Then it's not all wobbly around. So then you put that down. So now you're ready to start making the cookie dough. So I'm going to ask my assistant to take that away. Okay, so you've got to get your ingredients together. So one of the things is chocolate chips. Now these aren't any special brand, because you don't need a special brand. Chocolate chips are chocolate chips. This particular one takes 1 cup. So this recipe, I've already measured out the chocolate chips, so we're good to start with that. One of the other things you need is brown sugar. Now brown sugar is one of those things you have to pack because it gets air bubbles in it, and so I'm going to kind of show you as I do that. I've got a 1 cup measure with a little bit of brown sugar in there, but I'm going to have to dig really down, and then I'm going to fill it up. But look what happens. When you get it ready for your baking, you press it down. And the more you press it down, that whole lump that was up top, now it's in your cup. Not a problem. So you squish it all down, and then you kind of level it off. It really helps to have gloves because then you don't get all the grainy parts in your fingers. It's kind of like sand when you do brown sugar. Make sure you get it all out, and then you're ready. Okay? Sometimes, when you look at brown sugar, you'll see that there's like a brown chunky lump in there, and if you find one, like here's one right here, you just take your fingers and pinch it. If it stays really hard, even after you pinch it, then you're probably going to want to kind of pitch that part in the trash because it'll stay that way when you try to fix your cookies, whether it's the cooked kind or this kind that you're not going to cook. So, we've got our brown sugar. The next thing you want to do is get 1 stick of butter. Now you could use margarine, but we know butter tastes really good. So we're going to use butter for this recipe just because that's what we have. Now when you get it fresh out of the refrigerator, have you ever tried to cut a slice of butter to put like on a homemade biscuit or some cornbread or mashed potatoes? It's kind of hard. So you want to let it soften for about 30 minutes. So you probably want to do that ahead of time because if you try to put it in the microwave to soften it, it gets all liquidy and that's not such a good thing. So we're going to dump that inside with the other. Now sometimes there's a little left over when you soften it, so you just take your finger. This would not be good to eat, so you really don't want to try to lick your fingers. You just want to stick it right there in your bowl. And just kind of flip that off on the sides. Good to go. Alright, so the next thing we do is kind of the fun part because you get to squish it. And so you just squish it all together. And you want to get it off your fingers. Sometimes you have to kind of run your fingers over them. It'd be kind of like using a rubber spatula on your fingers, but this is more fun. So you just keep squishing it, and the thing you want to do is make sure that all of the brown sugar gets mixed in with the butter, so that you just keep on squishing it. Now if you have a family member that can help you with this, that's cool. It's fun if you have a brother or a sister, or maybe you're able to have a friend over that lives like right beside you, so it's okay right now to have them over, and you can take turns squishing it. One of the fun things about this, it's just like if you've ever made a sand castle and you squish the sand like between your fingers or between your toes, it's kind of the same consistency. And that's a fun thing to do. So now, do you see any spots on this? Oh, there's one on the side. You kind of got to look all around. And that's why I've got a clear bowl today because you can see it on the video to see if I mess up. You can catch me. It's all good. So there's still a little bit left on my gloves. I'm just going to take my finger, that's my pointer finger I'm using, and I'm just going to try to get that all off of my gloves. So more of it is going to be able to go in your mouth when it's all done. This is one of those recipes that does not have eggs in it. And you'll hear sometimes on a news report or maybe your parents tell you you can't eat the cookie dough because it has eggs. Well, eggs have this nasty little thing in them sometimes called salmonella, and it'll make you sick. It makes you get a bad tummy ache, makes you throw up, makes you just really not feel good. So you never want to eat something with eggs in it. But this one, no eggs, so we're good to go on that. Okay, so we've got all of this in here. The next thing on the recipe is vanilla extract. Now this is the kind that's imitation. That's okay. You can use real vanilla extract, you can use imitation extract. This is a tablespoon. Now, if we were going to use something smaller, maybe somebody messed up and they threw away all the tablespoons. Not a problem. If you have 3 teaspoons, it's the same thing as a tablespoon. You just have to use it 3 times. So, we're going to put the vanilla in there, and you're going to try to be very careful because we don't want to put extra. 1 tablespoon is a lot of vanilla, and that's pretty much enough. So we just pour it right over there, makes a nice splash, and it's all good. Now, we've got to mix all that in. The next ingredient we're going to be adding would be the flour. Now, the type of flour we have today is called self-rising flour. Sometimes, and on the recipe that you're going to get when you look online, it says all-purpose flour. Now, if we had all-purpose flour today, we would need a teaspoon of salt added to it. All-purpose flour doesn't have anything called leavening, which means it helps baked goods rise up a little bit. So all-purpose flour doesn't have baking powder in it, it doesn't have salt in it. So you have to add stuff to it to make it work. This is self-rising flour. It's already got the stuff in it. So that's one less step we have to do today. But depending on what kind Mom and Dad have at home, means how much you're going to need to use. So now my gloves are nice and messy. Nice and messy. So my assistant, here has on gloves, is going to measure out the flour. So I want you to take a spoon, and I want you to scoop right over top of the wax paper. I want you to scoop the flour into this 1 cup measure. Okay? You're just going to keep scooping it. Keep on. You've got to fill it all the way up.
And the assistant's name is Satchel Allen, not Allen. Sorry, Satch.
Satchel's helping me. Thank you, Satchel. Okay. All right, now, we're going to stop there. Okay. I want you to pick up this knife. I'm going to back up so you can reach it. Okay, now I want you to level that off. So you're going to use the flat side of the knife, not that side, the flat side of the knife, and you're going to slide it across there. Perfect. Okay, now let go of it. Okay. So that is 1 cup of flour. Now, the reason I had her use a spoon to scoop the flour in there is because flour is one of those crazy ingredients. It gathers air. So if your mama and daddy, or whoever, had a whole bag of flour, it probably wouldn't fit in this container unless you took a spoon, squished it down. When you squish it down, all the air goes out of it. So we're going to stick this on here just to show you that I'm telling you the truth. Do that again, Sam. Now this time, we're not going to use that flour. We're going to pour it right back in here. But I want to show you what happens, like if you take your measuring cup and you scoop it in there and you just like dig it down, then you get actually more flour than you probably need. Okay, all right, stop right there. Okay, now I'm going to put the flour aside. I want you to take this knife again. I want you to level it off just like you did before. Okay, now I want you to push your fingers down. Okay, now take 2 fingers and press it down. Now take 3 fingers and press it down. Same amount of flour. Okay, do you see there's a big crater in there? Yeah, that's where all the air went. So you want to measure carefully to make it work. Right, Sal, you can pull all of that back and the flour down and you for your help. Okay, so now we're just going to scoosh all this together, which means mixing it. And we want all that flour to get mixed in here. If you've ever made homemade biscuits or maybe ginger snaps, this is one of the things sometimes you have to do. We could use, instead of our fingers, what could we use? Well, we could use something called a pastry blender. We could use a fork. It would take a lot longer than our fingers, but you know, some people don't like to get messy. I have always liked to get messy, much to the consternation of my mother when I was little. But some people don't, so that's okay. You could use a fork or a pastry blender, and you could just keep doing it until it got all mixed. This, I think, is more fun, but you be the judge of that. So we're going to scrape our sides just like we did before. And we can use the dough kind of as a scraper, and then that kind of gets it pretty well clean. See how nice and clean it is on the edges? So we're all scooped up. Now, I'm going to ask satchel to pour the chocolate chips in, because that's our last ingredient. See how fast this was?
You can do that with M&Ms too.
You could do it with M&Ms. If you're a person who likes nuts or coconut, you can even put raisins in here. I don't think you should mix raisins with chocolate chips personally, but if you like to, that's okay. Because we're all different and we all like different things and different flavors. And isn't that wonderful that we're all different? It would be so boring if we were all the same. So now it is all mixed up. You see that? I've scraped the sides with the dough just to kind of swirl it around. And look, now that the flour is in there, there's a whole lot less sticking to my fingers. So I'm going to take one more swipe with my cleaner of my tutoring gloves, and I'm going to put that right back in there. Okay, now I brought a couple of different ways you can do this. If you are lucky and you have a little tiny 1-inch scooper at your house, great. If you don't, you can use a tablespoon and then just take your finger and scoop it off. So we're going to do both. All right, the first one I'm going to use is the 1-inch scooper, and you kind of fill it kind of full, but don't go crazy. And then you can scoop that into your finger. You can roll it around. Voila, it goes right on the cookie sheet. But if you don't have that, it's okay. You can just take a 1 tablespoon measure and kind of get it level. To do that, you just scrape it along the side a little bit, kind of make it sort of level, just like Satchel did with the knife. Kind of same thing, just use your finger. Okay, and so then I'm just going to scoop that out. It comes out really super simple. Roll it just a little bit so it doesn't look like a half moon, and then we stick it on there. Now, you keep doing that until you have all of the dough on the cookie sheet, and then the next thing you want to do, you want to put it in the refrigerator, and Satchel's going to go get what we already have in the refrigerator. Oh, there they are. The presto of magic.
Voila!
Voila! So these, you can tell, are already a little bit harder, okay, because they've been in the refrigerator. If you don't like them quite that hard, you can let them chill a little bit, but this helps all the ingredients stay together, and that's what you want. So, would you like to try this?
I want one. You want one, guys? Come get one of these.
I think everybody wants to try them. But the main thing is, you want to wash your hands before you do anything. And when you're ready to take your gloves off, there's a way to take them off. Probably more than one way, but there's a way to take them off that is super simple. One thing you can do so you don't get it all over you, you lift that glove. See where I'm doing that? I'm pinching it where the thumb is because there's always a little extra glove there. And so I'm getting that, and then I'm pinching the fingers. Slowly but surely. Fat fingers. Okay, and then I've just about got it off. But then I'm going to use my thumb, that's still got a little glove on it, and I'm going to do like this with the other one, and you can tuck it all together, and it's ready to go in the trash.
All right.
And then we're all done. I hope you enjoy them, and you can eat them as long as Mom and Dad tell you to. Good to see you. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Miss Celia. They're so yummy.
Thank you, Miss Celia.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, your challenge this week is to make this recipe, or maybe you have another recipe you want to make and share it with a friend. Now, in our lesson today, what they wanted you guys to do is to make this recipe and then wash each other's hands, okay? To help each other when your hands got all nasty and sticky. With everything going on, we couldn't do that today, but we couldn't pass up making cookie dough bites. We had to do it, okay? So, let me see if I can find my notes. Get to the right page. Here we go. So, you know, we have lots of people in our church that do great things that we want to share with, you know, they're behind the scenes. So if there's somebody in our church that you wanted to share some cookie dough bites with, you can let me or Miss Chessie know, and we can either get you their address or we can deliver them for you. So just let us know. There also, if you want to keep in mind that we do have firefighters, we have police officers, we have nurses. You know, if you just wanted to take some and share with someone, just make sure it's someone you know, because if you take them to the fire station, they probably aren't going to take them because of everything going on. So I wouldn't want you to waste that. But you could always share a note with them and tell them thank you for serving others, because there's so many ways that people serve others. And we want to make sure that we let them know how much we appreciate it. And then we want to make sure that you guys know that even the smallest things, and sometimes the most tastiest things, or the fun things, can be ways that you serve others too. Okay? So let's have a quick prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you for giving us life-changing examples of serving others. You washed the feet of your friends. You showed us that no one is too important to serve. You also showed us that we can be servants, even when others don't notice what we do. Help us to be more like you, in your name. Amen. Okay? And we also want to finish with our breakthrough prayer that we practice during church on Sunday morning and with all of our lessons that we do. Okay? So it starts, you can do this together. You don't have to bow your head when we do this one, okay? Heavenly Father, help us to see what you would have us see. Help us to be what you would have us be. And help us to love as you love. Guide us to build your kingdom today. Amen. All right, guys. Love you. See you next week.
Bye.